How's it going, everyone, and welcome to the ultimate gaming realm of horror. And this is Dixon logging on. It's Easter Sunday weekend, but unfortunately I'm going to do a morbid take on a holiday slasher game that's inspired by 80s VHS slasher films and 90s PSX tank control graphic gameplay style with low Polygon PlayStation graphics, with all sorts of filters to choose from. The name of the game is Murderhouse. Murderhouse gameplay style is inspired by a 3D tank controls of Resident Evil, Silent Hill, or Alone in the Dark. But shortly after the game release, they added a first-person option, which in a way the first-person option can be easier for me to move around in some areas and see better. But then again, the 3D tank controls have its own advantages too. But regardless, it's nice to have an option with an ease of one button, instead of going back to the menu, just like you have to do when you want to change filters. But then again, I guess that makes sense too. But the first person mode also has its disadvantages. When you have to defend yourself, it doesn't seem like you can't defend yourself in first person option. Looks like you can only defend yourself in 3D tank control mode. Murderhouse came out almost 3 years ago on the PC and later released on consoles. Popularity for showing nostalgia love for PSX graphics have been a recent thing within a few years, especially with horror games. But some games like Murderhouse combines the love of PS graphics and 80s VHS slasher films. It's like a PSX game being released in 1980s, and it looks like I'm watching an 80s film and playing a 90s PlayStation 1 game on a modern platform. And that's what I fucking love about it. Now, Puppetcombo, the developers of Murderhouse, also did a few other games similar to Murderhouse, such as Christmas Massacre and Stay Out of the House. And there are other developers or publishers that are showing the same love for these type of games, like Black Eye Priest and Torture Star Video. They seem to be dedicating their love into making games like these. And not all Puppetcombo games that are available today are actually put out on Steam yet. Some of them you have to buy from their exclusive websites or Patreon or something. I haven't really looked too much into it. But Puppetcombo and Torture Star Video does have their own website, so you might want to check them out just in case. And since this is the first time I'm talking about a game that's like this, I guess this is pretty much an introduction and not just a Easter special. Now that we got the short introduction out of the way, let's get to this holiday slasher special, Murderhouse. Murderhouse is about a serial killer who masquerades himself in an Easter bunny costume, wielding a big-ass sickle and given the name the Easter Ripper, who happens to be a child murderer. Now starting up the game. Looks like we're gonna be in for a big fucking surprise here. Doing that right now. Love the intro. The title screen of a VHS box in the background is pretty clever. I've been playing with the filters before I actually decide which one to choose from throughout the playthrough. All these filters are awesome, and I actually did play through the game a couple times using different filters. And by far, the music fits in quite well for what you're about to expect in a game like this. They came for a story. the story went after them. Interesting slogan there. And you better believe it. Man, I love it when games have filter options. You can start the game by going through a prologue that took place in the mall in 1985 as a possible victim. Or you can start where the present time is, which was 3 years later, at an abandoned house where the murders took place at, where a local news team of 4 had arrived and had to break into the house since the real estate agent wasn't there to see the crew to let them in as promised. A real estate agent was supposed to be there to let them in, as the producer gave the real estate agent $50, then promised another $50 once they're done shooting. But the agent was nowhere to be seen, even though his car was there, but he wasn't. What the hell's going on? By the way, the main character you're controlling, her name is Emma, and she's an intern for the team. And her first task was to find a way in, to let them in. Then from there on, doing tasks and finding stuff, until... I think you get the point. Let's see what's on News 9.
Anthony Smith, more commonly known as the Easter Ripper. The mere mention of his name sends shivers up the spines of parents across the country. His horrible murder spree leaving lives shattered and families ripped apart. Tonight we'll go inside his vacant home, where 11 innocent children spent their final moments in agonizing pain and terror. Untouched since those horrible crimes 8 years ago, some say his spirit still haunts the home till this day. I'm Dana Turner, and this is a News 9 special report. Silenced Tears, inside the home of serial killer Anthony Smith. The rampage started in late March 1979, when Smith walked into a local mall and took a seasonal position as an Easter bunny. A job meant to spread joy and cheer put him in the perfect position to abduct young children until his capture and execution in 1985. Many of the bodies have not been recovered.
Yeah, he was
As
one
told
sixth
by
of
the
a
sole
bitch.
survivor, Randy Martinez, Smith would release the children in his greenhouse and force them to go on a deadly Easter egg hunt while he stalked and murdered
That's what
them.
these
2 years
thick
later,
serial killers
many
do.
say he still haunts the
Play
home
games.
he grew up in.
What the fuck?
What was that? Tom, did you get that? I apologize to the viewers at home, but I just felt an energy pass by behind me. Let's continue deeper into the house and see what secrets we uncover.
Man, that was some fucked up shit. Well, the reporter explained about the Easter Ripper story, but now it's time for me to dig out a little bit of a story of evidence I found while playing the game, as well as finishing the review. To go back to where it practically started, there have been a bunch of kids that end up disappearing from the mall that I was talking about. Porter also made that clear. There have been missing persons plastered all around the mall. Does it ever occur to the parents that they should watch their kids a lot more closer? Especially around or in malls? Oh, what the fuck. In the prologue, you're controlling this kid who got in the picture with the Easter Bunny during photo session earlier, but somehow he accidentally fell asleep in the photo booth. Or did the kid get drugged from something he eat or drink from the food court? Then the kid finally come to, and it was night, and the mall was closed, and everyone was gone. I was already getting chills down my spine once this moment happened. Man, this is giving me the heebie-jeebies. And it was definitely a throwback to a PlayStation 1 survival horror game, like Clock Tower, for instance. Looks like the kid found his way through a corridor. Oh, fuck! Holy shit! Easter Ripper sure does know how to give me the jump scares. Now, and it's up to the kid, Justin, to find a way out. And the majority of the mall doors are locked. Now, something else occurred to me. Possible that this kid could have come to the mall by himself with his bicycle, or did his parents actually lost him and report him missing on the same day? Puppetcombo really did nailed it with the atmospheric soundtrack all around. The main objective in this prologue is to find a way out. Until then, keep running and hiding, and searching for a way out, or find a night janitor that's on duty. And if all that doesn't do any good, then the Easter Ripper must be a few more steps ahead of you. Speaking of the night janitor, the night janitor character was voiced by YouTuber Jacksepticeye, and 3D modeled after him too.
The Easter Bunny's trying to kill me.
Whoa, calm down! How did you get in here?
I fell asleep and I got locked in. But that doesn't matter. The Easter Bunny has gone crazy. I'm not making it up. He's been chasing me. We have to call the police.
Hold on, there's a phone in here. Let me go check it out, and you wait here.
No, don't go. He's going to get you.
I'll take care of him. You'll be safe here. I'll lock the door.
No, wait.
Well, top to the morning to you too. Or top to the night.
Looks like we're here.
Ew, this place? I can't believe I went from the news desk to this.
You're lucky you have this after the incident with the poodle.
What poodle?
That could have happened to anyone.
All right, let's get started. We don't have all day. Where the hell is the real estate agent?
Yeah, where the fuck is the real estate agent?
I gave him $50 to let us shoot this story. There's his car. Where the hell is he?
Yeah, his car is there, but where the fuck is he?
Hey, intern. What's your name again?
Emma.
Yeah, Emma. Make yourself useful and find us a way in.
Yeah, you're the most useful one of the crew, Emma. The rest are worthless. And the voice acting for Murderhouse aligns perfectly for a game like this. Though I don't recognize any of the other voice actors or voice actresses, at least the names that is. Now back to discussing more about the Easter Ripper. Well, the reporter said, the Easter Ripper was apprehended by the authorities following the escape of one of his victims, and the Easter Ripper killer was identified as Anthony Smith, and Smith was executed. So it should be safe for the news team to do a story inside of the house where the murders took place. Well, that's what they think. The news team thought the abandoned house where all the murders took place was a ghost house, so they could make a perfect story. Obviously, the absence of the realtor they were supposed to meet on arrival was nowhere to be seen, even though his car was spotted at the scene, and that didn't alert any suspicion to the team, especially with this pompous-ass producer that has his head so far up his ass didn't have any awareness in his mind, since his mind was more focused on getting the scoop, no matter how strange it seems. Well, anyway, the plot will take a turn for the worse as the Easter Ripper reappears, and it's up to Emma on what to do next. But I thought the Easter Ripper was dead. Could there have been a mistake during the trial? Or could there have been a copycat involved? Like I said before, the few keys of survival while trying to escape is run, hide, and investigate by finding useful objects or solving small puzzles while trying to find a way out. As Emma, you can defend yourself, but all there is for defense weapons is a fire poker, a pistol, and a shotgun. But they are pointless to use until near the end of the game, so until you reach your proper goal, it's best to run and hide until then. Also, if you have a pencil, you can save your game. And sometimes, the poker does work if used correctly, but it makes the Easter Ripper go away from you into a different room. But I most certainly would recommend that you didn't use the poker near the final encounter. It's best to either use a pistol or a shotgun. Oh, and I also forgot to mention, I don't think self-defense works in first-person mode, only in 3D mode. So that's kind of a drawback there. That's sort of an issue there, but not a huge deal. Now the save feature is like how you save in Resident Evil games. On a typewriter if you have an ink ribbon. But in Murderhouse, if you have a pencil, you can save your game on a notepad or in a notebook in that one room. You can only save in one place in this game, since it's not a mansion you're in this time, and since it's a short game anyway, and this game does not have an autosave feature. So after the progress you made, you might want to save your game time to time. Murderhouse was definitely inspired by the likes of Resident Evil and Clock Tower. Gameplay style may be like Resident Evil, but the plot is more like Clock Tower, where you have to run and hide. The Murderhouse game is indeed a true love letter to the 80s VHS slasher films and the 90s low polygon 3D era. The gameplay and controls are not perfect, but they will do. The camera angles when in 3D polygon mode are at times a hit and miss. Now the story as well as playing the game makes my skin crawl, and I love every fucking minute of it. The soundtrack for Murderhouse, with its 80s horror synth music, adds much more atmospheric twist to the plot and to the events that you will come across, like with anything you discover or when encountering the Easter Ripper, while you run, or hide, or get caught. 2 or more bloody thumbs up for an excellent soundtrack. The death scenes in Murderhouse are quite as gruesome as any low polygon 3D game from the 90s. Especially Emma's death scenes. If the Ripper gets you, it's like how the playable character dies in Resident Evil games. Bloody bitchin'. Makes me remember those bloody good times that I had during my youth. As much as I love 80s slasher films and 90s horror games, that's what I love about this game. A combination of the awesome things from the 80s and the 90s in one go. And there are plenty more games that are like this too. And I will be getting into other similar projects like this as well. Now, despite Murderhouse for being short and having some minor flaws, I would still say for an average of $10 or less, Murderhouse is totally recommended. Okay, I think it's time to go. If I don't get the fuck out of here, the Easter Ripper will reappear and stick a large sickle up my asshole and I become his next victim with an egg shoved in me, like with all the other Channel fucking 9 reporters. Besides, I think I've been in this dump long enough. Happy Easter, everyone, and this is Dixon of the Ultimate Game Room, leaving the Murderhouse. Whew, that's a wrap. And wow, thank God I'm out of that musty, filthy place. I can't believe that house is still for sale after all the horrible events that occurred within the 9 years. They too need to remodel it. Or better yet, tear the fucking house down. Too many horrible memories in that place. Now that I got my notes on the Murderhouse, happy Easter everyone, and this is Dixon of the Ultimate Game Room, logging off.